I've been sitting here fussing with my camera and the lights and the angle and trying to figure out what is going on, because for some reason, something with my visual it doesn't look right to me. And I'm looking at myself in the viewfinder and I'm like, what is going on? And I cannot figure out what is going on. And this is just one of the unfortunate realities of setting up and breaking down a podcast studio in your living room every single week. It's always going to be a little off center. The lighting's going to change, things like that. And you know what? It is what it is. But for my brain, as somebody who needs to have a reason to move on and move forward from something, I'm going to blame it on the fact that I'm pretty sure this is the first time in Too Pop to Handle history that I'm wearing a hat on the podcast, which is such a minor little detail, but it is the only tangible thing that I can blame this on right now. And for my sanity and for the sake of this show and getting on with the show, we're going to blame it on the hat. However, I cannot lie to you guys. Putting this hat on this morning, it's my VMA hat if anybody isn't watching. Putting this VMA hat on, knowing nominations were coming out today, I imagine it's the same euphoria that straight men feel when they're going to the bar wearing their team's jersey or hat, whatever it may be. I felt like I was repping my team, and I get it. I understand, between Nixon 5 and just all of this energy of being a bandwagon sports fan this past summer, I understand the excitement of putting on a t-shirt or a jersey or a hat for your team and repping it out in public. It felt incredible. But with all that being said, it is a very exciting day here on the podcast because VMA nominations have officially come out. We're going to chat all about them in just a little bit. But I am, of course, getting ahead of myself. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Too Pop to Handle. I am your host, Andrew Nucatola. And as always, I hope you guys are having a fabulous week. And if you're not having a fabulous week, I do think I have a fix. If you are listening to this on the day of release or really anytime after, Dunkin' Donuts officially has pumpkin back. And now listen, I understand some people are going to say it's August. We're rushing summer. We still have a couple weeks left. And I get that. Two things can be true. I can enjoy a pumpkin spice latte and be sweating my ass off waiting for the subway and still enjoy a little bit of everything. We don't need to be so harsh with these lines we're putting on. Whatever happened to blurring lines, or whatever happened to, just going with the flow. If I want to drink a pumpkin spice latte in the middle of August, it does not affect you at all. And things are tough in the world right now. Things are dark. Things are pretty fucking dark. And our president is a rapist. People are using AI to write grocery lists. If I want to drink a pumpkin flavored drink in the middle of August, mind your fucking business. You know what I'm saying? I feel like this year specifically, there is no room for that kind of bullshit and negativity, just given the state of the world. But to everybody out there who isn't a fucking hater and is going to join me on this fall beverage endeavor, cheers to us. I hope you were listening to this podcast and having your first sip of pumpkin spice latte as you listen, because that would really, I feel like we would just have a very euphoric moment. I'm having deja vu. I feel like I said this last year as well, but I really do. As basic as it is, as basic bitch as it comes, I fucking love a pumpkin spice drink. I do. Sue me. There's a reason it is so popular. However, if you need a little spice in your life this week, pumpkin spice is back at Dunkin', and that is my why. Something else actually that has been my why this week before we get into this show, I don't know what's on your For You page, and that's the beauty of the internet. Everybody has a different corner of the internet that they're able to curate and, really cherry pick what the content on their For You page is. However, if you are not on Shanty Beluga TikTok, I am so sorry. If you have not been introduced to Shanty Beluga yet, you are missing out, but let me enlighten you and bring you into this world, because there is such a fun silliness to this entire Shanty Beluga movement, and I cannot get enough. It is there's not much to say about it other than she is a girl named Shanty Beluga, and that's all there is to it. There's not much more to it, and I think that's what I love. I love the simplicity. I love the if you know kind of vibe, but I'm just saying, if you're not on the Shanty Beluga train yet, you better jump on, because it it is a fun place to be. I cannot lie. Something else I've been seeing a lot on my For You page this week that I really am a little disturbed by, and this is kind of exposing myself, and I'm not a Disney adult by all means. However, I am really fascinated by a Disney adult, so I do tend to like attract their content. And by the way, whenever I'm talking negatively about a Disney adult, it is never about Blake's Pop Nook, Blake De Silva, I think his name is. It is never about him. Never in a million years could I ever talk down on my king like that. However, there are some Disney adults who I look at with a little bit of a cocked head. And, you know, I'm not going to yuck somebody's yum. If you want to cry at Cinderella's castle, be my guest, pun intended, like whatever. However, this week, and I feel like this has kind of been brewing for a while from what I can tell and from my investigations of scrolling on my For You page, there is this girl, I don't know her name, I don't care to know her name, who is obsessed with the Peter Pan character actors in Disney. And now, if you were on Tumblr in like 2013, 2014, that just sent a chill down your spine, because there was an era of Tumblr where the Peter Pan character actors ran that shit like the Navy. You were waiting for, maybe I am a Disney adult. Like maybe I'm exposing myself as like a Disney adult by association, because I'm imagining now, like what if anybody listening to this has no idea what I'm talking about? But there was for sure an era on my Tumblr, at least, where the Peter Pan character actors were like all the fuck over my Tumblr dashboard, and people were reblogging them. They were making fan edits. Like they were going hard in the paint with the Peter Pan character actors. And now it has found me again. It has resurfaced, and there is this girl, this woman really, I believe she's a grown adult, who has been going to Disney World, Land, I don't know, one of the two, and seeing Peter Pan, the character actor, for the last 10 years, and has formed something more than a parasocial relationship. It's a bit of like a stalkery situation at this point, and now people are like posting their videos of their kids interacting with a Peter Pan, and she's in the background like lingering. There's videos of her like running up on them and they're literally running away. And it's one of those things where like I can't look away, but I want to so bad, because it really does. It's hard to watch, you know? It's like, this is a lot for a man in tights. And I just like, the more that I know and the more that I watch, and the way that I like watch her continue to go to Disneyland, while literally my entire For You page is like, hey, put her on a watch list because she is stalking these people. And there's been like ex Peter Pan character actors, whatever they're called, coming out and being like, I used to be a friend of Peter, which is what they say when they used to play the character. I've learned this through my research. When somebody played a character at Disney, they say, oh, I'm a friend of Peter Pan. Oh, I'm a friend of Belle. And that's how you know they're with the shits. They were in there, you know, they were on the front lines dealing with this psychopath. And he made a whole video talking about like, oh yeah, I knew this girl, and just like the boundaries that people would cross, and the way that she would like get online to meet him and then get back online and wait for it to be over so they could talk more. And it's a little freaky. Like I've never considered the weird aspect of Disney adults. Let me retract that statement. There are many weird aspects of Disney adults, but the weird aspect of like the obsession with a character and or like the people playing them. I don't know if she's like going as far as finding like the actual actors on Facebook, because like that is some like FBI shit. I feel like they take a lot of pride in hiding who the people are at Disney, you know, who are playing these characters. But watching this girl chase Peter Pan through Fantasyland or whatever the fuck Disney World is called, like it is wildly alarming, and I can't stop watching, unfortunately. Like it is crazy, and every day there's a new video. I'm like, she is really there every single day. I'm like, I say this lovingly, but like, do you have a job? Like, what do you do that you are able to go and stalk Peter Pan every single day? It's very wild. Another thing actually on my For You page, I feel like I've been really trying to limit my scroll time. So when I'm on TikTok, I'm really aware of what is on my For You page and what I'm consuming. And this sounds so insane, but like I'm trying to be more intentional about it, you know? Jean Smart, the woman that you are, performing a one night only as Deborah Vance in LA for the Emmy For Your Consideration campaign. I mean, come on. Like, as As much as it hurts me that I wasn't able to be in the room when Jean Smart played Deborah Vance on that stage and like they brought this character to life after Hacks had ended, it pains me because I would have actually done anything to have been there. But I do understand that it was like for Emmy voters and like they are gunning to get Jean Smart this Emmy. Like if anybody needs it, it is her. And if there happen to be any Emmy voters out there who are listening to this podcast and are having a little bit of difficulty deciding who they're going to vote for this category, just give it to Jean Smart. Like, come on. She has gotten it for the other 4 seasons of this show. Why not end it with a bang? Like, maybe I'm biased because I do just love the show so much. But like, how sick would it be for Jean Smart to win an Emmy for every single season of Hacks? And not just because it would be cool to say, because she fucking deserves it. Like, Deborah Vance is truly a one-of-one character. And I would like to see it. Let's continue making Jean Smart just greater and greater and greater. Any Emmy voters listening to this, because I'm sure there are plenty. I'm sure, they have nothing better to do than listen to a gay man yap about pop culture in his living room. But if you're out there, let's, give Deborah Vance the Emmy. Let's just do what we got to do. She is doing the work. She is doing the work. She's handing out pizzas after the show to people waiting. She is doing these comedy shows. Like they are putting in the work for this Emmy for your consideration season, campaign, whatever you want to call it. Just give it to them. Just give them the Emmy and let's keep the ball rolling. It's simple. That being said, enough yapping about all of that stuff. Let's yap about some other stuff and get into this week's episode. You guys know the drill. We always kick things off with our new music releases, and we actually only have one music release from last week and nothing on my radar for this week. So just one quick release to chat about. However, it is a big one for Too-Pop to handle. Troye Sivan is back, and I could not be more thrilled. His lead single, She's the Best, from his upcoming 4th studio album of the same name, is here. And I love it. I really, really love this song. Now, I wasn't sure what to expect going into it, and I did have the pleasure of going to his music video premiere last week, which was really cool. So I got to hear him chat about the song and the album and kind of give us an idea of like what he was thinking about when creating this music video. And I think the video is really what sells this song a lot more. I think the song is great on its own and it's got a beautiful message. And as somebody who loves all of the women in his life and is continuously just like uplifting any woman that he can, I think this song is just perfect for that. And, as a gay man and you grow up and you kind of do idolize these women, whether it's your mom, your grandmother, your aunt, your best friend, a pop star, whatever it is, we kind of do center women in that sense. And Troye was talking about how like he would grow up and watch Janet Jackson or Christina Aguilera and be like, oh my God, I want to be like these girls. Like these girls just give me this excitement and this rush and I want to be like them. And I think this song is just such a beautiful way to honor them and kind of just like admire these cool fucking women who are in all of our lives. And I mean the music video. Nicole Kidman, are we joking? I literally said the morning of the premiere, I said, what if the girl is Nicole Kidman? Because I saw the preview and I wasn't sure. It was like a blonde woman from the back, but I was like, what if this is Nicole Kidman? And while I was sitting in the theater at Metrograph and the video started and it is Nicole Kidman smoking a cigarette in her sunglasses in that car, I literally felt my stomach drop to my ass because like, how fucking cool is that? I actually did an entire newsletter all about Nicole Kidman. There's been a lot going on with her in the news lately. So if you haven't read that, you can go check that out. There's a whole lot going on with her. She's the September cover of British Vogue, which knocks the US cover out of the water. She's just the coolest fucking girl in the world. And like, yeah, Troye Sivan, you are right. Nicole Kidman is the best. So there's nobody better to star in this music video. We also have Sasha Colby in the video. Bojangles, who I fucking love, is in the video. Just Lizzie McGuire. Like so many incredible women. So many trans women. So many women of color. Just so many women who are fucking cool and truly, like Troye says, the best. So I just think this video really amplifies this song so much, and it's kind of a different, not sound so much, but vocal performance from Troye than we've gotten before. It's a little more spoken, a little less, there's not so much like tone to it. He's kind of just speaking through the song. There's a little bit more at the end of it, but it's got this really beautiful like melody that goes throughout it, and it's really, I don't know, I'm excited to see what the rest of the album sounds like. He said the album has a little bit of everything for everybody. So that I'm expecting some other big pop moments. And Troy really does crush a pop song. I mean, Rush, Bloom, like he really knows how to construct a pop song. So I'm excited to see what the rest of the album sounds like. And this is the opening track. And he told us that the album is best listened to top to bottom. Like this is an album that is intentionally made to listen to straight through, which you guys know my rule. I think anybody who listens to an album on shuffle for the first time is a fucking psychopath. But he did say, listen to this front to back. So knowing that She's the Best is the first song on this album, I'm curious to see how we kind of navigate through the album when the track list comes out. I believe it comes out October 9th, I want to say. Don't quote me on that. But it comes out later this year. I'm trying to pull it up really quick. But yeah, I just the way that he's talking about it and the way that he's describing like this is October 9th. Yeah, I was correct. The way that he's describing the album as like a kind of like a journey throughout the entire album of some like slower songs, some more upbeat songs. Just excited to see what he has in store for this album. And like I said, that was the only release that was on my radar last week. Nothing coming up this week, but we do have some very exciting ones next week. So I'm not going to jump ahead, but very exciting for what is on the horizon. We still have so much music coming out this year. I keep saying it, but like we've been chock full of albums this year and like it's just not stopping. Like it's just continuing and continuing, and my pile is growing and growing. And I have to just say it again. If you're not listening to Raven Lenae's new album, Blue Island, I cannot turn it off. I'm obsessed with this album. It is fantastic. It came out like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Just a really solid body of work. I said it last week as well, or 2 weeks ago whenever it dropped. Just really fucking incredible music. If you're not listening to this album, you are missing out on some incredibly produced, arranged, the vocal arrangements, her lyrics, everything on it is just really, really well done. And I cannot get enough of it. But that being said, it is time to jump into some pop culture news, some moments from the week that were too pop to handle, if you will. And now I hate to ever have to bring depressing or upsetting news to the podcast, but when and if I have to, I like to start things off with that so then we can, put it behind us and kind of keep the ball rolling and turn, flip a switch and get things to be a little more positive. And this first story is just something that I could not have come on the show and not at least acknowledged. Hayden Panettiere has passed away at the age of 36, which is so young and just so devastating. I was like laying down getting ready to go to bed and I happened to open Instagram like one last time before I was going to go to bed, and it was the first thing on my news feed, and I literally jumped up out of bed because I was like, there's no way I'm reading this. Like this must be an article from The Onion or something. It was just so jarring to like see her face with that tagline attached to it. And I mean, this is just real. It's devastating when anybody passes, but like this is somebody who has been really around for as long as I can remember in terms of like movies and TV and culture. I mean, she was literally in A Bug's Life, which was one of my favorite movies growing up as a kid. Did I know that with Hayden Panettiere when I was 6 years old? No, but like knowing that as I got older, it's like she really has been around for all of our lives. And it's just so devastating. I mean, don't even bring up like the fact that like Michelle Trachtenberg literally passed away last year. And now the two of them, both the stars of Ice Princess, are no longer with us, which that movie was such a huge moment. I feel like for people of my age and my generation, it was just such a huge, like everyone loved that movie. When Michelle passed, that was so heartbreaking. And now a year and change later, Hayden passes away. This is just such devastating news. The last I checked, they haven't released a cause of death, but they reported that after being found unresponsive and in cardiac arrest, the official cause of death is still pending due to toxicology results, but the emergency responders did treat the scene as a possible overdose, which really sucks to read considering the last couple of months she's been on this whole press tour for her book and her memoir, just discussing her struggles with addiction and how, when she was in these dark places, how she overcame it. And she's been really trying, she's been in the spotlight the last couple of months, just promoting her book and not a project so much like a TV show or a character, but herself and her story and her journey. And for this to happen so close after, I've been seeing people even who I follow or on TikTok being like, I'm literally watching Nashville for the first time or as a rewatch, and I just bought her memoir and now I'm reading this book. Then when I bought it, she was alive, and by the time it's getting delivered, she passed. Like, it's just so devastating. And her daughter is so young. I think she's like 11 or 12. Her parents just lost their son, her brother, 3 years ago, I believe. Like, it's just so heartbreaking. And like I said, she's just someone who I feel like has been around our entire lives, from Bring It On, Nashville, Heroes, like I said, A Bug's Life. Like, she has done so many different projects and has kind of always been around, you know, even like thinking of like those Neutrogena commercials that she was on for years, which I just saw a clip the other day. This unfortunately did come up after she passed, but allegedly, or not allegedly, she literally said that Neutrogena fired her because she was talking about having postpartum depression on Live with Kelly, and they fired her because of that, which is so insane. So like, if it wasn't already fuck Neutrogena for that fuck ass Tate McRae ad that she did, it's double fuck Neutrogena now, because like, how are you going to fire a woman for having postpartum depression? It is quite literally just a part of the pregnancy journey. Really, really weird behavior on their part. But that just goes to show, like, Hayden has literally been in so many different aspects: TV shows, movies, commercials, like, just always been around. And hearing this news really did kind of shake me up. I was like, whoa, this is wild. She is 5 years older than me, and she's been around for so long. Just really, really sad news, and just a weird thing to read before you go to bed. Not that they're listening, but I'm sending, of course, my love and my thoughts to her family and friends, anybody affected by this. This is just really, really horrible news. I hate when I have to bring things onto the podcast like this, but again, I feel like I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't discuss it and talk about it. Really, really sad. But switching gears and, you know, trying to turn this frown upside down, as I mentioned at the top of the show, it is officially the most wonderful time of the year. It is VMA season. Now, if you've been listening to the show since the beginning of it, or if you know me pre-podcast, you know the VMAs are literally like my Christmas in the summer. Like, I look forward to the VMAs every single year. I always have. They are just such a huge pillar in pop culture and in things that I would always look forward to, as when I was like, got my first Twitter account and realized I could like live tweet the VMAs. And now that's kind of my job, which is fucking crazy. But it's even more special over the last year or two, because now because now I am working on the social team behind the VMAs and MTV, and it's just really cool. So the VMAs have always held a special place in my heart, but they hold an even more special place now. And there's been lots of work and prep, and like seeing the behind the scenes of what goes into getting ready for a show like this is so insane. And I can't even begin to touch on how much work and how many hours and assets and captions and, you know, things go into making sure this all goes off without a hitch. But what I can do is discuss the VMA nominations that came out earlier today, or yesterday if you're listening to this, whenever. Very exciting list this year. It is led by no other than Madonna, with 11 nominations, including Artist of the Year, Song of the Year, and Video of the Year. Taylor Swift is second with 9, including Artist of the Year, Video of the Year. Ariana Grande and Sabrina Carpenter are tied with 7 for both Artist of the Year, Video of the Year. Bruno Mars, Pink Pantheress, and Zara Larsson all have 5. Lisa has 4, and Shakira, Tate McRae, Generation, and Young Lean have 3. Those are just, you know, the leaderboard, kind of how it goes. I mean, Madonna leading the pack. Fucking incredible. Madonna and the VMAs are such a synergistic thing. You know, you think about so many people's favorite VMA moments are tied to Madonna. I mean, the kiss with Britney and Christina, the Vogue performance, the whole situation with Courtney Love. Like, Madonna has done so many iconic moments. She was at the very first VMAs ever. Like, she is so embedded into VMA culture, and seeing her lead the pack with 11 nominations for Confessions on a Dance Floor Part 2. It's just incredible. And like, I've been loving this album. It's been listening to it on repeat all summer long. And it's so cool to see. She is so far into her career and still just releasing music that should be celebrated and should be awarded like this. I could not be happier to see her leading this pack. Of course, another VMA darling, Taylor Swift with 9. I'm not surprised here. I mean, Taylor Swift and the VMAs are also very embedded within each other. I mean, the Kanye incident of it all. She announced Midnights on the VMAs. Her You Belong With Me performance is so iconic. She's had some not so iconic moments like the Shake It Off performance. But like, you know, Taylor Swift and the VMAs, in sync, giving her award in 2023. Like, Taylor has had such an incredible moment at the VMAs, and I feel like the VMAs and Taylor also kind of go hand in hand, so we love to see that. Ariana and Sabrina, they're both kind of VMA darlings. Ariana for a little bit longer, of course, but Sabrina over the last couple of years, she's performed, she's won a couple. She won her first Moon Man, what was that, 2 years ago, I want to say? And yeah, she just kind of been in the mix. It is a little confusing with Sabrina because she's still getting nominated for the album that came out last year, but the album was already out when the show was. However, I think it's based on like when the video comes out. I actually don't know. As somebody who like works behind the scenes, I don't actually know the eligibility period for it. I don't know how or when or what the rhyme or reason is. I don't know if there is one, but yeah, I was like, wait, didn't Sabrina perform Tears at the VMAs last year? Now she's nominated for video this year. I mean, hey, I think the Tears video is incredible, but yeah, happy to see Sabrina there. Some other nominations that I saw that I was very excited about: Slater getting nominated for Best Dance for her song Dance. I mean, I am cheering Slater on every step of the way, and I have been since 2019, I want to say. Like, it's been a long ride with this girl, and seeing this moment for her is just so cool. Also, Charlie XCX getting nominated for Best Pop for Spring Summer 26. I love music, fashion, film. It's really such a cool album for her to have in her discography, and I think the fact that she's getting recognized for it in this capacity is really, really cool. And of course, you know, with VMA nominations, there's always going to be snubs, and with any award show, there's going to be fans who are upset. There's going to be people who think this, think that. As far as snubs, I definitely think Adele should have at least gotten a Best New Artist nomination. I think she's really just put in a lot of work over the last year or so, but maybe it's too early. Her album isn't out yet, so maybe that's why. I would have loved to have seen Adele get something, though. I also would have loved to see more solo Zara. I think she's only nominated with Pink Panthers for the Stateside remix, which absolutely love. I mean, that video is one of my favorites of the year. But I would have loved to see Zara get a little more recognition just for, you know, any of that, of the incredible year that she's had. Flo, I would have loved to see get nominated. And the one that is really, really grinding people's gears is Olivia Rodrigo. And now I agree. Olivia Rodrigo's latest album, that long ass title, is so incredible. It's one of my favorites of the year to this day. And I would have loved to see her sweep some of these categories. But she is nominated. Like, she's nominated in a couple of categories. It's not like she got 0 nominations. Same with Harry Styles. People are like, Harry was snubbed. He's nominated. Like, there is this weird line where people are like not happy with, oh, this artist is nominated, but not the category that I want. So why does it matter? It's like, hey, a nomination is a nomination. Let's celebrate that. You know what I mean? Like, if they're not nominated in any category, sure, I get, be a little upset. But if they're nominated somewhere, girl, just be happy they're nominated. Like, why don't we celebrate? Why don't we be a little more excited and congratulatory rather than burning down people's, you know, place of work because they didn't nominate them in the category that they want? A little crazy. But yeah, VMA nominations are here. Very exciting. You can vote now at vote.mtv.com. The show is on September 27th. Very exciting. Very excited for the show. We will chat all about any more announcements coming up as they come out, you know, as we learn about them. But for now, go vote. You guys want these people to win these VMAs so bad? Head over to vote.mtv.com and let's get the show rolling. Next up, some more news. I was too popped to handle that. This news actually ripped my heart out and stomped on it. Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo performed together in London over the weekend at the Eternal Sunshine Tour at the O2. And now I knew this was going to happen. Cynthia literally said on a red carpet a couple months ago, when Ariana is in London, I will be in attendance. So I imagine they would perform something together. But it doesn't make it hurt any less, you know? Like, it doesn't make me feel any better about it. They performed for good, and the Get Happy, Happy Times, or Get Happy, Happy Days Are Here Again mashup that they sang together on the Wicked, what was it called? Wicked One Wonderful Night, on that live special, the Judy Garland, Barbra Streisand collab. And For Good was one thing, like, okay, cool, whatever. But the Judy and Barbara collab, that one really That one really poured salt in the wound because I just love that collab to begin with. Like, I just think it's such a incredible moment in pop culture. And when they did it on Wicked One Wonderful Night, I was weeping on my couch over it. So now to see them do it again, and I'm going to say it, I don't care if you saw Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo perform Get Happy and Happy Days Are Here Again. It should have been me. It should have been me. I'm sick to my stomach over this. I'm so happy for everybody who saw this in London, I guess. And Cynthia Erivo posted on her story today that she would be back at another show performing with Ariana. And she has like 10 shows at the O2. So who knows when it's going to happen? Who knows what she's going to do? But I'm prepared to be, I'm prepared to be hurt again once this happens. And that's fine. There's this whole conversation online about Cynthia Erivo looks so healthy now that her and Ariana aren't together all the time. And Wicked is over and Ariana dropped Cynthia, painting Ariana as this like evil woman. And it's like, where are you now? Where is the Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo don't speak crew now? Because clearly they speak and clearly they are on fine terms. And, people like to assume that they know a lot about people that they don't know, which is a common theme of the podcast over the last couple of weeks, like people being weird about people that they do not know. But the Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo conversations are really on a different level. There's this weird parasocial protectiveness around the two of them. And, people like to assume that Ariana and Cynthia are no longer friends now that Wicked is over, but they're real quiet now. There's not much to say after the two of them performed together on stage at the O2. So stick that in your juice box and suck it. The next moment of the week that was just too pop to handle, D23 happened over the weekend. And, now as I say that, I'm like, maybe I am a Disney adult. Like maybe I'm contradicting everything I said in the intro of this week's episode, but you know what? It's fine. Some Disney legends were inducted, as they are at D23. Anne Hathaway, mother of the house, Jonas Brothers, Lin-Manuel Miranda, very exciting. Anne Hathaway did confirm that Princess Diaries 3 will be happening, which, my thoughts. I don't think we need it, but sure. Great. More Anne Hathaway content. Why not? I mean, I'm always going to watch an Anne Hathaway movie, but no, Julie Andrews, why are we doing this movie? But I mean, just seeing her up on that stage, accepting this, and the love that she was getting poured into her over this award was so sweet. Somebody asked what the gender was. She was like, I'm about to pop. You'll find out in 5 minutes. She's just the cutest pregnant woman I've ever seen in my life. And I feel like living through this Anne Hathaway content dump of this year where it's just nonstop Anne Hathaway, as somebody who was never on the hate train, I was never one of the people in 2012 who thought she was overexposed and there was too much of her. I am eating every single piece of the Anne Hathaway content up. And I know it's going to end soon. And that sucks. But also, please go rest. Please go give birth. And please go, enjoy some time with your family. Is what you deserve. You have 2 other kids. You're about to have your 3rd. Go relax. Princess Diaries 3 will be there when you are ready. The Jonas Brothers, like I said, inducted as Disney legends. Very exciting. They had such a bang with Disney back when they started in their career. I mean, Radio Disney is what introduced me to them back in the day. The first time I ever heard the Jonas Brothers was Mandy playing on Radio Disney. And that sparked this crazy roller coaster of a Jonas Brother obsession that was at times unhealthy. And, our frontal lobes develop and things change over the years, but they were a huge part. They still are a huge part of my life, but they were at one point all I talked about and all I cared about. And it was fun. But it is really exciting to see them, just getting these milestones and celebrating these big things. I did not watch Camp Rock 3. I will not be watching Camp Rock 3. I hope everybody is enjoying it. Just not for me, and that is fine. Also really fun to see Vanessa Hudgens giving it to them. I feel like that's a crossover event that I didn't know that I needed. And we've seen them together before just in the Disney, cinematic universe. But it was just very plucking on my heartstrings as somebody who loved High School Musical and obviously loved the Jonas Brothers growing up. There's a huge moment in that sense. And I'm wondering if this is kind of pointing at Vanessa Hudgens or the cast of High School Musical getting inducted into the Disney Legends at some other point. Because if you were going to talk about Disney Channel and iconic legendary moments from Disney Channel, High School Musical is at the top of the list. There is never going to be another Disney Channel original movie that had the impact in which High School Musical did. And that is a fact. Like, there is no world in which Disney Channel has ever nor could ever produce a movie as good or as impactful. I mean, I remember making my mom drive me to store to store to store to find the High School Musical soundtrack, the original one, and we could not find it anywhere. We literally ended up driving. I remember this like it was yesterday. We drove to the town over from us and went to the Kmart there to get it there because we called. They said they had one or two in stock. I remember we rushed. We went to like a Target, a Best Buy, a Borders, a Walmart. We could not find this CD anywhere, not because they weren't stocking it, but because it was sold out. High School Musical was such a phenomenon that, like, if you weren't there, you're not going to understand, but it was this start of something new, dare I say. You know, it was this crazy moment in tween culture that, like, we could not get enough. I mean, backpacks, notebooks, pencil cases, headphones, hats, anything they could put Zac Efron's face on, we were buying. And I would love to see the High School Musical cast inducted into the Hall of Fame at some point, or Disney legend, whatever it is, because they really, if you want to talk about a Disney legend, it is Zac Efron, Vanessa Hudgens, Lucas Grabeel, Ashley Tisdale, Monique Coben, Corbin Bleu. Like, let's open up that conversation. But congratulations to the Jonas Brothers. Also, congratulations, Lin-Manuel Miranda. I mean, obviously, Lin does not need any introduction or need any reason as to why. I mean, Moana alone is just, hello, like, huge. Some other things from D23. We got the first look at the Tangled live action, which I'm very excited about. And, you know, I've crossed to the hater side of the Disney live action over the last couple of years. I think we're getting to a point where they're a little unnecessary and, like, we don't need to keep doing them. I mean, Moana flopped, Snow White flopped. You know, there's less of a want. I mean, Lilo and Stitch did do great, but I feel like Lilo and Stitch, like, those Stitch girls don't fuck around about Stitch. And I think that's why Lilo and Stitch live action did so well, whereas Moana did not do so well. Like I said, Snow White didn't do so well. I know they're working on a Princess and the Frog one, which I wrote about in my newsletter as well, which if you're not reading the newsletter, you are missing out on some other pop culture things. So make sure you subscribe to the Substack. It is free. It is down below. But the Tangled live action, just for the casting alone, I am so incredibly sad. And getting the first look at Kathryn Hahn as Mother Gothel, I'm not gonna lie, I got goosebumps. Like, maybe I am a Disney adult. I keep saying it, but, like, that is such incredible casting. And I'm so excited for this movie. And then the final thing from D23 that we'll chat about before mouse ears start growing out of my hat is The Greatest Showman coming to the West End. I fucking love The Greatest Showman so much. I saw it in theaters like 3 times. I think it is such a beautiful story, beautiful soundtrack. I mean, Pasek Paul, hello. I think it is just such a fantastic film. And the fact that it is coming to a stage and, like, being adapted to a musical, I'm gonna need to go see that. Like, I woke up on Saturday morning and it was one of the first things that I saw. And I legitimately was like, all right, book me a ticket. Like, I'm ready to go right now. I love that movie. It is incredible. Also, speaking of movies that I love from that same era, La La Land. I went and I got to see La La Land's 10th anniversary screening over the weekend. And let me just say, it's gonna hit every single time. I have seen that movie now 6 times in theaters and a countless amount of times that I have watched it at home. Every single time, La La Land is going to fuck me up. I know how it's going to end. I know what happens. I know when they flash forward to, you know, her getting out of the car, it's 5 years later. And I know that he names it Sebs and not chicken on a stick. And I know what's going to happen. Every single fucking time, it's going to get me. It's just incredible. Just like Greatest Showman. I'm going to need to see The Greatest Showman on the West End or Broadway, wherever it goes. Sign me the fuck up. Speaking of shows that now everybody's going to be able to see, the Jonas Brothers have announced that the Burning Up tour all over again will no longer just be a 3-night MSG exclusive. It is now going on tour for the entire second half of the year and will be hitting, I believe it's like 40 states or something like that. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little surprised by this. Not because I'm surprised that the Jonas Brothers would do a cash grab like this, because they really are constantly chasing a check, and not in like a complimentary way, and a like, hey, what's going on? Why won't you go home and see your kids kind of way? But I really thought they were going to treat these 3 MSG shows like a special treat, really like, just because they did 3 nights at MSG in 2008, they were going to do it with Camp Rock 3 and Disney Legends. It was a special thing for the week because that's what they told us. They literally said, we are doing it because of Camp Rock 3 and the Disney Legends, and it all happened in that same week. And now they are taking this tour across the entire country through, I believe, December it ends. And like, I'm thrilled for the people who aren't in New York or don't have the means to travel to New York to see this show. Of course, like, I'm so happy for that because I understand traveling for shows is so expensive and like, it's not feasible for everybody to do. But it is getting a little tired of like, exclusive, 1 night only, da 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 da. And then it's like, just kidding. It's going everywhere. And it's not just them. You know, people have done this. This is not like a new marketing tactic, but like, it is kind of slimy of them to announce this the week of the MSG shows when it is too late to cancel your travel. You know, you can't cancel a flight without unless you got a refundable flight, which I don't know if anyone's doing that. Like, you're going to have a penalty. You're probably going to scramble figuring out hotels. Like, it's just a shitty thing to announce the week of the shows. But like, again, happy for everybody who gets to see the show in different states now. I won't be leaving the state for these 3 men. I will be at one of the shows this weekend. Don't know when, don't have tickets. I'll end up there one way or another. But I'm like, how many times are they going to do things like this to their fans before it's like, But you know what? Like, we keep going. We keep buying tickets. We keep showing up, and like, no tea, no shade. Joe and Nick openly talk about the auditions they go to and they are not getting. So they're not getting booked for their acting. So I guess what they need to make money, and touring is what's going to make them money. I guess I understand, like, this is their job. But it's like, how about we try something new? You know, you've been doing the nostalgia tour since feels like 2023 at this point, right? That was when Broadway started. Yeah, that's like, feels like it's been like an ongoing just Jonas Brothers greatest hits tour forever. And it's like, the fans are going to go, but the fans aren't going to fill an arena every single time. You need the general public to go. And at what point of you showing up at the same arena, doing damn near the same set, year after year after year, the general public, like, at what point are they going to stop showing up and helping fill these seats? You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not praying on a downfall. I'm not praying on, you know, any of that. I love the Jonas Brothers. I am so excited to see them for the upteenth time this weekend. Trust me, I am a fucking pot calling the kettle black in this conversation because I am surely going to be at MSG, and I'll probably shed a tear or two out of excitement. I will. I'm not going to lie. But I'm allowed to hold these men accountable for their bullshit, you know? But anyway, I hope Joe Jonas wears something without sleeves when I see him this weekend. That's all I'm going to say. And have fun at the Burning Up tour all over again. Anybody who's going this weekend or next or the week after that or the month after that, or when they come back around for the second leg, and when they do that, because there's about 57 dates for you all to go to now. Moving into the next moment of the week that was just too pop to handle. Noah Kahan brought out Chappell Roan at his largest show ever in California over the weekend. And I love this for a multitude of reasons. Now, I don't listen to Noah Kahan. I know his music, I'm familiar with him, but I'm not into like sad boy, sad girl music the same way I feel about like a Phoebe Bridgers. I respect her talent, her art. I'm not pressing play on an album that is depressing. I just don't want to listen to it. I'm sorry. It's not my vibe. Noah Kahan, similar situation. Not something I'm going to willingly put on. I understand the lyrics are great. I understand he is incredibly talented, but I'm not putting it on. However, I love Noah Kahan as a human being. Something about him. I think he's so silly, so funny. He's very open about like mental health, which I love, which a lot of straight men and just men in general aren't doing. So I love that. His concerts look like such a welcoming and warm and fun environment. And I just think what he's doing and what he's bringing to the straight male community is really buying them some brownie points. Also, let's not forget when all that shit was going down with Brianna Chicken Fry and Zach. What is that white boy's last name? Zach Bryan? Zach something like that. Whatever that country, the guy who was Brianna Chicken Fry's ex-boyfriend, and then him and Noah were best friends, and he like got too drunk and didn't come out with Noah, and then Noah like cut him off, you know? Love that he stands on the right side of history, you know? Like he just seems like a guy who was always making the right decisions, and seeing him just kind of continue on this up and up, like I'm sure he's going to be nominated for Album of the Year at the Grammys, and he deserves it from what I've heard and what people are saying about it. Like, I know it is incredible, and I've listened to it. I'm not digesting it or like diving into it much more. It's kind of like press play and then like, all right, I'm good. But just, I love him and I'm so happy for him. Like watching him have this success and, you know, knowing that was playing like little clubs a couple years ago and now he's selling out 90,000 seats at the Rose Bowl. It's just fucking awesome and I love to see it. And something else I love to see is Chappell Roan, and she came out and they sang California together. And it just kind of is making me really excited for whatever is coming for Chappell Roan. I mean, she has the Daisy Chain Fields Festival coming up in a couple of weeks. Then she has the Super Graphic Spectacular show coming up in LA very soon. And I don't know if she's gearing up to do new music or an album, but I just think Chappell is a really interesting artist because she's not new in her career, but she's new in this level of her career, and she's already really taking the reins and doing whatever she wants, and like she's going to these festivals and putting on these performances, and there's not necessarily new music to perform, but like she's still finding ways to reinterpret this music and to, you know, she's raising money for like queer communities at these shows in LA and just doing really cool shit. And it's making me think maybe we are gearing up to a new Chappell era very soon. I feel like her and Doechii, who we talked about last week, who I'm so stoked for her new music whenever that comes, like I feel like the two of them came up right at the exact same time. They're having that really big moment together. And I do kind of feel like we're getting to a point where like, all right, what's next? When are we coming? And I feel like this is just me being hopeful, but I do feel like a 2027 release for both of them isn't the craziest thing to hope and wish for. But just cool to see Chappell going out and, you know, supporting Noah and doing this, and like that she has all these performances coming up. I'm just very excited for the next couple of months of Chappell content because it's near and far. You know, we don't get it very often. And I am a Chappell Roan defender. You know, you can say what you want about her, but like she might be annoying, but she's never wrong. You know, like it's kind of the truth of Chappell Roan. She might be annoying, but she's never wrong. And I respect that because I'm also annoying and I'm usually never wrong, not gonna lie. No, but very exciting and just like a cool moment. I mean, like I said, Noah doing his biggest show ever and having these huge career highs and all these huge moments and being able to celebrate it with people in the industry that respect and love him so much. He is such a beloved artist, you know, by so many other famous people, which is always a really good sign. You know, when a famous person loves another famous person, it's kind of like their kiss into the community, you know, it's like, oh, they're all kind of on board with each other. So just you know, we don't praise many straight men on Too Pop to Handle, but I will always praise Noah Kahan, even if I'm not, you know, necessarily listening to him that often. What are his fans called? Conners? No. What are his fans called? What? I'm gonna Google this. What are Noah Kahan fans called? Busy Heads. Okay, a name that comes from his 2017 debut album. Oh, with a song called Busy Head. Okay, well, I might not be a busy head, but I do love and appreciate Noah Kahan just for him as, you know, a being, if that makes sense. But yeah, very exciting stuff. Moving into the next and final moment of the week that was just Too Pop to Handle. 10 Things I Hate About You is coming to Broadway, and I cannot wait for this show. Now, this is not new information per se. We've known this was coming for a couple of months. However, we just got the official announcement and like the socials rolled out. The first poster and preview all came out earlier this week. So August 17th is the official start of previews, 2027 that is. We have no idea when opening night will be, when what the casting is, the theater. None of that is announced. However, I cannot wait for this show. The concept of 10 Things I Hate About You being turned into a Broadway musical with the book written by Lena Dunham and the music written by Carly Rae Jepsen is truly just gay guy buzzword after gay guy buzzword. And I am so excited for this show. And, it could be a slippery slope when you take a movie that is not a musical and turn it into one for Broadway. If you look at shows like Beaches or The Notebook in recent years, they didn't do so great. But then you look at a show like Legally Blonde or Mean Girls that is so beloved and really was so well done. The reason it was so well done is because the people behind the book and the people who wrote the music for it. And when you have Lena Dunham and Carly Rae Jepsen behind both of those, projects for this show, this is going to be fucking incredible. Like, I am so excited for this adaptation. It's going to be unbelievable. No idea who's going to be in it. No idea what theater it's going to be in. All we know, Lena Dunham, Carly Rae Jepsen, 10 Things I Hate About You, August 17th previews. I will be there. I cannot fucking wait for this show. And that wraps up our moments from the week that were just too pop to handle. But we are not done just yet. We end every single episode with a yes and a mess. A yes being something I am loving and a mess being something I am not loving. And we always kick this off on a high note. So kicking things off with my yes for the week. I feel so thankful to be alive at the same time as Rosie O'Donnell, and I have felt this way really for my entire life. I have vivid memories of sitting on my couch as a child watching the Rosie O'Donnell show with my mom, and maybe I didn't always know what they were talking about or what was going on because I was so young, but I have such vivid memories of Rosie being such a pillar and just a staple in my household that as I've grown up and as I've gotten older, seeing her anywhere is always feels like a warm hug from my childhood, and watching her just have this incredible moment over the last, I want to say like 2 years or so. She's really having this Rosie-sance, if you will. She had her one-woman show that she opened in Ireland and then she just brought to Broadway. She is hosting Jimmy Kimmel this week, and after one night, she's already calling out Trump because we know he's watching. And Rosie has been stepping on that man's neck since the 90s, and we love to see her standing 10 toes down on that piece of shit. She just had an incredible episode of Good Hang with Amy Poehler. Like, she is just having such an incredible year. And as somebody who has really always just felt like Rosie deserved more and more and more, and she's always given so much back to the communities that needed it, and she's just such a delight and such a treat. And I'm having the time of my life watching Rosie O'Donnell thrive in this phase of her career. What a woman. It's fabulous. And switching gears to my mess for the week, I cannot wait to talk about this. Tyga has released an album that he is oh so proud to admit that he used AI for. He says, "I've never spoken on this with anybody because I always felt like it's similar to a magician explaining how he does his tricks. Why are people over-explaining how they make shit that's good? If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. I don't care. It's supposed to give an experience and a feeling, but we definitely use AI as a tool. I know people are going to be mad at me about saying this, but it's where technology is going. It's no different than when autotune came out. Some people were opposed to it, but real artists took it and used it." Now, I have a lot of thoughts after reading this statement. Where do I begin? Really, where do I start? First of all, I listened to the album, or what I could listen to, and it is shit from a butt. It sounds like AI music because it is, and it is truly horrible. So horrible that Pitchfork gave it its first 0 out of 10 ever in the publication's history. And now I don't trust Pitchfork as a source to say if an album is good or not. They are, not the end all be all. But it deserved the 0. Him saying that explaining his process is like a magician explaining its tricks. It's not uncommon for an artist to talk about the process of making an album. It's what makes an artist an artist. And by not wanting to talk about the experience and the process of making your album, you're further proving the fact that people who use AI to make art are not artists, nor is that art. It is, as I said before, shit from a butt. He goes on to say, why are you over explaining how they make shit that's good? This isn't good, so that's not what you're over explaining. Shit from a butt. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. I don't. And then he says, I don't care, which I think when an artist says, I don't care if people like it or not, you know, there is this kind of like, they're taking this power back. And like Charlie XCX said, like, if you don't like music, fashion, or film, that's fine. I like it and that's great. But when she's saying it in a sense like, oh, I put a lot into this album. Tyga told Chat to make Poop from a Butt and it made it. Like, there's not much to be proud of on this album at all. And like the way that he's talking about it is just so cocky. And then to say using AI is similar to artists using auto-tune and people were opposed to it and real artists embraced it. The artists that were using auto-tune and embracing this advance in technology weren't using auto-tune to create their music. They were using it to enhance it. And now I'm all for using AI in a sense where it is used as a tool to enhance something. Speaking of Charlie XCX, she admitted to using an AI function. I forget what it was on her album, but it was something with like the vocal techniques and something with the way that they edited the music, and it's technically an AI plugin. I'm not talking about that kind of AI when I'm saying I hate AI. I'm talking about generative AI shit from a butt. When you are making a poster using AI, when you are asking AI to create a song, when you are asking AI to make a grocery list because you don't know what you want, when you are asking AI to order your Starbucks because you don't know how to look at a menu and fucking pick a drink, you know? And for him to say, using AI is a tool when the entire album is made using AI. He didn't use AI to like tweak something. This entire album sounds exactly like you would imagine AI to sound like. And that's why I listened to it, because I wanted to be like, is it that bad? It's that bad, you guys. It is poop from a butt. I'm not seeking Tyga music or content. It's just not something in my wheelhouse. But this is so wild to me. And unfortunately, like, this is a route that I think a lot of artists are going to try to take. And I do commend him for at least admitting it. You know, some artists might not even admit it. Some artists might not realize that people are realizing it. Some people might, you know, go to their grave holding it. They use AI for this. I commend him for admitting it. I just wish he would have at least made a good album. If you're going to waste the fucking resources that we have, if you're going to kill the planet to make an album, at least make it good. Tyga released shit from a butt and is proud of it. But, you know, people want to bitch and moan about people being excited about Pumpkin coming out in August when we have people making entire albums with AI. But you know what? What do I know? What do I know? What I do know is that is the end of this week's episode. Thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode of Too Pop to Handle. If you liked what you heard and you're listening to us as a podcast, please go ahead and leave us a 5-star rating wherever you were listening. If you're watching us on YouTube, do not be shy. Go ahead and leave me a 5-star rating. Oh my God. Leave me a thumbs up, hit subscribe, drop a comment. You guys know the drill. If you would like more moments from the week that were just too pop to handle between podcast episodes, head over to our Substack at toopoptohandle.substack.com. I will have it linked down below, but you can subscribe to my free weekly newsletter where I share extra pop culture moments of the week that were too pop to handle in between episodes. And if all of that is not enough, you can always follow me on my social media platforms at Andrew Nucatola or at Too Pop to Handle across all platforms. And with that, I will catch you guys next week. Bye.